Hi, thanks for joining me today. Are you being cast into a negative role by members of your stepfamily? Possibly a role in which you are the one that always is the person who says no to things. Subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell, and I'll let you know every time I post. I just want to talk to you about the roles that we can adopt in our lives, and we do this just about everywhere we go, like at work, at recreation, in sports teams. We can always adopt a kind of person that we are inside that group of people. And this happens in families quite normally. In traditional style families, you'll have different children adopting different roles, like the eldest is the leader and the second one is the one who follows, and then the third one is the comedian. And this is true of step families too, with your partner who is the parent to the children for whom you are the step parent. What sort of role do they play in the child's life? Are they wanting to adopt the role of the child's best friend, for example? And be careful what role you are choosing to adopt. Are you the person who says no? It's very easy in your partnership, but also with the family, the wider family, to adopt a kind of role because it's there to be filled, and it has to be filled. If you weren't there to say no, and you didn't adopt that stance, then your partner would have to say no some of the time if you weren't doing it for them, because they can only afford to do that while you have adopted the role that you have. Same with the children. Just be wary that they haven't assigned you a role that you don't want. Like a teenage child might say to you, oh, you're always the boring one. You're always the one that looks at the detail. And that allows me to be the carefree, fun-loving, careless type person that I evidently am. Just be wary of that, because if you are being labelled like that and that's the role they're giving you, and it then, as a result, gives them permission to be something that really isn't that helpful either to you as a step-parent, to the family functioning, or to them growing up and taking more responsibility for their lives going forward. Because if you adopt that role, then you're in a way allowing them to get away without any responsibility attached to that. So what do you do about this? Well, as with all of these things, it's about noticing that you're being cast in this role, and that's what that is, and you have adopted it. Once you're aware of that, you can begin to find ways to not adopt those roles and sidestep them. Ask the person, what would you do if I wasn't here? Ask your partner, if I didn't say no to this outrageous suggestion, who would? Would you? If you would, how would you do that? And get them to do it. Step aside. Don't be the one to always fill your role. Think about it and make other people step up and take responsibility for what they're doing. Same with a stepchild. When you notice they've cast you in a role and they give you that role, don't agree to it. Say you'll sit down and talk it through with them. Talk through the pros and cons of what they've suggested, so that they can begin to see that actually It's not your job, and it's important for them to take responsibility for themselves instead of dumping it on you. This happens too in traditional families. This isn't something totally unique to step families. But in a step family, it has even more consequences in the sense that they may not particularly welcome you as their step parent, and then on top of which you have this role which is seen to be a negative. So it's kind of, you get packaged as a step parent that's a negative on top, when that's not necessarily true or right. So first of all, be aware of the role that people are casting you in the step family. That's your partner and the stepchildren. And then sidestep the role they've given you by challenging them on it. Ask them what they would do if you weren't here, and get them to take more responsibility for themselves, and instead of dumping that role on you, and therefore encouraging people to step up and do the full job and not just lean on you and put half of it on you. We run workshops, sessions, an email response service, and we write booklets. You can find links to our social media and website in the description box below.